So there's this one strategy that sounds really boring, but it's literally printing 10,000, 50,000, and even 100,000 follower accounts on Instagram. And this is something that hardly anybody else is willing to do, but it's so simple, you'll be kicking yourself for not realizing what it is sooner. And if you don't believe me, it's literally the same exact strategy that's been blowing up accounts like Rem Archives, Elixio, and even myself. But the best part is, it literally takes under an hour a week to implement. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can finally escape small account jail and grow your account from 0 all the way to 10,000 followers in a record-breaking time. And it starts with arguably the most important rule out of the 3, ideation. Now, I'm sure you've heard it a million times before, that if the idea is flawed, then the video is doomed from the start. The idea is literally the core. What everyone fails to tell you is how you can ideate effectively and, more importantly, find ideas that are guaranteed to work. But with these 3 genius ideation steps, I promise you, ideas will no longer be a problem. And while they won't be unlimited, you will have a goldmine of tried and tested ideas, just like I do for all of my viral videos. First, you need to get clear on what makes a good idea, and it comes down to 2 very simple questions. Firstly, would the broad audience actually find this helpful? And secondly, is it something most of the audience already know about? Now, as basic as these 2 questions may sound, if you think about it, I almost guarantee you've never followed someone on Instagram and they've told you what you already know. And as I said a minute ago, no one's ever watched a video and gone, no way, I already know this information. I guess I'm gonna drop this person a follow. Whereas if we take a video that has new information, such as a video on how to make a shot list, then that is a type of niche specific and educational idea which will take your page to the next level. So that begs the question, how do you find good ideas? There's one key technique I use to find all of my ideas, and it starts over on Instagram, using something I like to call crossover accounts. As I said, I'm of course a social media coach, and copying other people in my exact niche won't bode well due to those 2 key questions. What we can take advantage of is crossover niches. And a crossover niche can be defined as a niche that doesn't speak to my ideal viewers, but speaks to those who have a similar interest. For example, for me personally, that looks like the cinematography and film and TV niche. But if you're unsure of which niches they are for you, just copy and paste this prompt into ChatGPT and you'll have 5 to 15 similar niches ready for the next step. Now notice how in this video, I'm talking about the 60-30-10 rule. This is something directly related to growing an account on social media, yet none of the people in my niche have spoken about the idea before, although it is still an incredibly helpful trick when it comes to social media. Therefore, if we go back to our first 2 questions, this idea was extremely helpful to a broad audience, and it was also something none of the broad audience knew about. So if it isn't obvious already, that idea was top of the pile, which is why when I used it for this video, it generated around 200,000 views. But what's more impressive is the follower conversion rate. So, how do you find crossover accounts, and where did the idea come from? Well, it's simple. In the Instagram search bar, using the keywords ChatGPT's already given us, hit search and then filter by accounts. And yes, it really is that simple. It's how I stumbled across this account, which generated over 10.2 million views from the 60-30-10 rule originally. In other words, I hit an idea goldmine. And this brings me on to rule number 3, or step number 3. How many ideas do you actually need? And where do you save them? Well, again, it's very simple. You just need to have double the ideas compared to the videos that you plan on creating. If you're filming 7 videos and you only have 7 ideas to go for, you don't have a buffer to choose from. Remember, we're trying to go from 0 to 10,000 fast. Therefore, the 7 videos have to be the best. So restricting yourself isn't really a great idea. To keep track of your ideas, you can use my ideation database, which consists of 4 columns: the creator's name, the link to the video's view count, and any extra points you want to make note of when adding the idea. And don't worry, if you want this database template, just head to the description, it'll be there for you to download. Now that brings us on to our second golden rule. In order to turn all those genius ideas you've come up with into a video that will actually perform and get you to your first 10,000 followers, you're going to need to catch people's attention at a huge scale. And I can't stress enough how important this stage really is. And for something so important, you'd be surprised at how low the bar is set. But if you follow this second golden rule to an absolute T, I can promise you, you'll start seeing those results you're after, and it comes down to the text you use within your hook. As simple as this sounds, this really is the difference between 500k views and 500 views. For example, take a look at this video of mine. It has text on screen that tells the viewer exactly what they can expect to learn. And it also implies an element of negativity by telling the viewer they need to fix their color grading. Instantly, within the first 2 seconds, the viewer knows exactly what the video is about, along with what they can expect to learn, and we've also triggered an emotional response by telling them they have a color grading issue. Or in other words, we've locked them into watching the video without really putting in much effort. And I know, you're probably thinking that this text animation looks pretty high effort when it comes to the edit. And to that, I'd actually say it's a lot easier than you think. Take this video for example. It generated 1.7 million views from saying exactly what the video is about, what the viewer can expect to learn, and implying that they don't know it yet. And the best part is, it probably took this guy about 30 seconds to add it to his video. But of course, this is social media, and we really don't want to be doing the same thing everyone else does by using this generic text. And I'm sure you don't want to be wasting ages coming up with the perfect text hook. What I'd strongly recommend you do is check out Submagic's text hook generator. It literally takes less than 10 seconds to generate you a perfect text hook based on your video's information. animation. And better yet, Submagic will also generate you dynamic captions that are fully custom for all your videos. This truly is a game changer for content creators, as it saves on average around 2 hours of editing per video. So if you want to check out Submagic for yourself, the link will be in the description. Okay, so if you've made it this far, first off, congratulations, you've just reached the most important section. And although this part is actually really boring, if you want to make it on Instagram, it's probably in your best interest to pay attention here. As what I'm about to cover with rule number 3, will explain all of these confusing engagement metrics and more importantly, explain which ones to focus on and how to max out your engagement. So to start things off, let's cover the most misused and misunderstood metric, watch time. Now, it's a common myth that watch time is the most important, but this couldn't be further from the truth. If watch time was the most important metric, then in theory, this video of mine would be my most viewed video out there. It had an average watch time of 56%. It's only around 65,000 views. Whereas if we compare it to this video, which is currently at around 200,000 views, it only had an average watch time of 34.69%, which should in fact answer the question, watch time isn't everything. So if watch time isn't everything, then what is? Well, first things first, don't even bother looking at comments or likes. They're far from important. In fact, from collecting all of this data, the most important metric for educational content is saves. And it's for a very simple reason. Remember earlier when we spoke about these two questions? Well, if the video idea and the information in our script is that good, then the viewer would be mad not to save it. Think about it. If I bumped into you in public and gave you the ultimate cheat sheet to go viral on social media, and it contained everything you didn't know but needed to know, I'm pretty sure you keep hold of it and go over it countless times. The same concept applies here. In every video, you have to aim to deliver information that is new to the viewer. Otherwise, there's no chance of them saving your video. So, rather than me yapping and using another analogy, here are the benchmarks to be aware of. If a video that you post gets above a 4.5% save ratio, then you, my friend, have a video with viral potential. Any less, and the video was likely poor and wasn't worth the viewer's time of day. Trust me, this is based on hundreds of videos that I've personally tracked all the data for. So yes, this is tried and tested. Now I know at the start of the video, I said I'd only cover the 3 golden rules, but I'm feeling kind of nice today, so here's a bonus. Now I'm sure most of you watching by now not only want to get to 10,000 followers, but you need to get to 10,000 followers in order to hit those goals that you've set within your business. And from attending a recent mastermind, I discovered that one of the best ways to achieve those goals is removing myself from the low impact tasks. And one of those tasks for me personally was editing. I used to spend days on end editing videos, whereas I could have just used that time to work on moving the needle forward. So instead of spending thousands on hiring a high quality editor, I now use Submagic. With Submagic, for as little as $20 a month, I can now create text hooks in a matter of seconds, fully cut up my videos, and perhaps the best part is, I can also add in dynamic captions and sound effects that all of the biggest creators use in all of their videos. If you're posting anywhere from 2 to 7 videos a week, do yourself a favor and save days on end using those hard to learn editing softwares. And give Submagic a try for free. The links are in the description.